He says, my words are truth. Now we have Satan. What does the Bible say about Satan? Look with me at the Gospel of John. The Gospel of John, chapter 8 and verse 44. In thinking about truth, the Gospel of John, what is the opposite of truth? Think about that for a moment. If truth is one thing, there is almost always an opposite to it. And Jesus in the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 44 says this. He is talking to people who cannot tell the truth. He says, you are of your father the devil, and your will is to do your father's desire. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks out of his own character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Okay, so when we are tempted to tell lies, we are tempted to follow Satan. He is the father of lies. He is the originator of lies. People who are known to lie cannot be trusted. I want you to think about that. Have you ever known someone that you couldn't trust? You couldn't know for sure that they were telling you the truth, and so you've always doubted them. You couldn't put your faith in what they had to say. Jesus addresses this in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 16. Matthew chapter 7 and in verse 16 of Matthew chapter 7. Look with me at what Jesus says. Jesus says, you will recognize them by their fruits. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes or figs of thistles? So I want you to think about this. We always know someone who is not a Christian, and we always know someone who is a Christian by the way they act, correct? So the person who lies, who do they belong to? They belong to Satan. The person who tells the truth belongs to God, or are at least attempting to follow his pattern. But if we as Christians stand for the truth, we'll be known for that, right? We'll be known as truthful individuals. I want you to think about for a moment, what does it mean to stand for the truth? Jesus says, my words are true in the Gospel of John. And think about it. If we are to stand for the truth and Jesus' words are truth, then we are to stand for what Jesus has to say. I read an article that it kind of inspired this lesson, and even though it's been many, many years since this lesson was done, Kate doesn't remember it. I want to read this article. One afternoon, many years ago, at the corner grocery store, the storekeeper had only one chicken left to sell. It was in a barrel of ice water because in those days there was no refrigerated, well-lit display cases for meat. Near closing time, a customer came in and asked the storekeeper if he had any chickens left. Sure, he said. Here's one for $1.35. After examining the bird, the lady asked, do you have a larger one? The storekeeper replied, well, I'll see. Returning the chicken to the barrel, he jostled it around for a few seconds and then pulled out the same chicken again. He then laid the same chicken on the counter and said, here's one for $1.85. The customer surveyed the chicken for several seconds and finally stated, I'll take both of them. Now, let me ask you, if you were the storekeeper, how embarrassed would you be? See, you would have been caught. That storekeeper was caught red-handed in a lie. Now, on the surface, we might laugh, we might joke, but who is the father of lies? Satan is the father of lies, and Jesus speaks the truth. So, before you get caught with your hand in the chicken barrel, think about what you're going to say and make sure that it is accurate and true.